Here, put a headset on. Why don't you do color with me? I have to do all these games by myself. Might as well have a little help. And now here with the play-by-play with not knowing anything is Ed Beach. See ya.
Set me up.
Yeah, that's okay. I set myself up. I set myself up on this one. See, what I'll do is when if I know these games we have to do, like I said, the last game that I knew we were going to do, so I prepared score sheets on those. I'll type up some score sheets on these games, but the way this is shaping up right now, I may be doing a lot of games tomorrow because I already know I've got to do the 10-15 game tomorrow. I'm going to have to do the 8:30 game tomorrow too. I'm going to have to do the first two tomorrow. I should be okay at noon with Embry-Riddle. 1:45 I'll be okay with Walsh. I think I'm going to have to do the 4 o'clock game. If this system doesn't work with you, or you lose tonight, I'll have to do the 5:45 game.
Some pressure on us.
Yeah, so I don't have to work so much. Of course, we're doing the 7:30 game. I like the game we're doing on the radio. And then we got the that one, the one we're doing for real. And then let's see, what do we got? And then 9:15. If Morningside or Cornerstone can't fit into the system, then we'll have to do that game too. So we may end up doing about all of them. Well, we'll do 6 of them tomorrow, it looks like.
You got the late one tonight too, right?
Yeah, and like I say, I prepared a score sheet on that because we knew we were doing that one. Because see, Holy Names almost hired us, so we thought we might be doing them. All right, let's see here. Let me get Huntington. Okay, Huntington goes 2. I will have to say this. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I think Fisher probably has the smallest roster of any team I've ever seen at the national tournament. Here's their roster.
Yeah.
Okay, stand by. We'll start feed coming up here in about 15 seconds. All right, here we go. Tournament feed in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's game number 5 of the second day of the NAIA Division II men's basketball tournament for the College of the Ozarks Keeter Gymnasium. It will be Fisher College, the Falcons out of Boston, Massachusetts, taking on Huntington University out of Indiana. They are the tournament's 2nd seed. And we're set to get underway. I'm Scott McCauley. Ed Beach will be along for some commentary this evening as well as we watch game 5 of this tournament, and it'll be Huntington that starts out with the basketball. Huntington, again, is the number 2 seed in this tournament. Huntington comes into this game with a very strong 28-5 record. They missed the first shot, but a follow-up shot will be no good. Battle for the rebound will be won, and Doug Scheckler for Huntington gets the basketball, and eventually a foul is going to be called on Huntington. Scheckler will get to go to the free throw line as the first foul of the ball game is called. And if anything we've seen today, Ed, in this, especially the second day of the tournament, is that being a seed does not necessarily guarantee you a victory today.
No, it certainly doesn't. We've seen some upsets, at least according to the seeding throughout the day. Mid-American Nazarene knocking off the 6th seed in the tournament as they advance over Indiana Southeast. Oregon Tech advanced, but they had a battle in their hands earlier today. And Southwestern out of Kansas, only 3 losses all year, and then they fell in the opening round today too. So Huntington want to protect that spot. Use some superior height there. It's a big starting lineup, and they've got a good height advantage on Fisher, and yet 2 or 3 cracks to the basket in their first trip.
1-0 Huntington on top as 1 of 2 free throws made, as Fisher will have the basketball for the first time. Here's a shot that's going to be no good, and the rebound will be on the ground. Held ball and possession will stay with Fisher. Talk about this Fisher Ball Club out of Boston, Massachusetts. They're the conference champions of the Sunrise Conference, which is in obviously the northeast part of the country. But one thing that they can't rely too much on is depth, is they only have 7 players suited out for this game. I was saying it before the game, I think probably one of the smallest rosters we've ever seen here at the national tournament. This is Mike Newcomb. He is a 6'1 junior, as he has the ball for Fisher. Fisher trying to get their first basket of the ball game. Newcomb will dribble around, give it off over to Cruz. Back over to Newcomb. Shot clock is down to 13. Feed the ball inside. The ball will be knocked almost out of bounds, but Huntington will recover it and run the break the other way. Here goes Huntington down court. It's a Scheckler. He's going to pass it off, and they'll kick it back up top, and the pass will be intercepted. Here's Cruz going down court, and he'll pull back up. And we'll set up an offense. Stephen Perry actually drives around and gets towards the basket, but they call a foul away from the ball, and I believe they're going to call Javon Holland for the foul.
Had kind of a pick, but he pushed his arms out there, and the official right there in good position to make a call will send it the other way.
Ed Beach, he's working with us on this ball game, looking at this game very intently because he may see one of these teams tomorrow night. Ed's the voice of the Evangel Crusaders, who will play in one of the marquee games here later tonight against Bellevue University. Here's a basket that's good, as Steckler gets the basket for Huntington.
Well, he just camped right underneath the basket, middle of the lane, and Fisher couldn't do much to stop the entry pass right underneath.
3-0 Huntington. As we come into this tournament this year, we're looking at a lot of key ball games, a lot of games that are really top heavy with a lot of teams that have had some good tradition in this tournament. Huntington, one of those teams that has had some success in the tournament, and we have some players collapsing over the chairs down at the other end. And I don't know if there was anybody in those chairs, and actually there wasn't. We actually had a situation here earlier today, I don't know if you saw it, Ed, where we had, we've got, for those that are not familiar with our press row, we got some chairs that don't have tables in front of them. And we had somebody actually knock over one of the people in those chairs earlier today. We also had a broadcaster almost taken out. Bobby Thompson, the Oregon Tech broadcaster, almost took a charge today. As what I heard, his feet were set, so he would have been called, the player would have been called for the offensive foul. Here's Fisher called for traveling, still 3-0 Huntington. 17:46 to go here in the first half. And as I mentioned, winner of this game takes on either Evangel or Bellevue in the tournament's second round on Friday. Huntington basketball. Yoder passes off to Koch. Back up top it goes to Snyder. Huntington very, very patient. There's Steve Platt, their veteran head coach, who's had a lot of success at Huntington College. And as we said, Huntington, one of the teams that we've seen at this tournament quite a lot since it's been at College of the Ozarks the past 7 years. A 3 will be good, but Alice Koch has the basket. And that makes it 6-0. With Huntington so far pitching the shutout. We've played 3 minutes here in the first half. Drive goes down, and the ball will be knocked out of bounds, and Huntington will get it back.
The thing about Huntington, they very sound, an excellent offensive team. Average 82 points a game. They're a 41% shooting team from 3 range. 51% from the floor as a team. That's incredible, and they shoot it well and from everywhere.
Mentioned Huntington with a good history in this tournament. In fact, they had a rare loss in the first round last year. They got knocked off by Newman, but had won a game, at least one game in this tournament every year they've been here, and they've been here a total now of 6 times since 2000. Here's a 3 missed by Fisher, and another rebound to Huntington. Forster's coming back the other way with a 6-point lead and make it 8 as the basket's put in by Jared Yoder. 8-0 is the score. Fisher, we mentioned they're out of Boston, Massachusetts. They made their first ever national tournament appearance last year, losing to Northwestern in the first round. Again, members of the Sunrise Conference, they won their tournament championship, and that's how they qualified for the tournament. Shot missed by Fisher, and a rebounding foul will be called.
Anxious to see their star Mike Newcomb, a 6'1 junior, he's number 10, play, averaging 25.5 points a game. He was the National Player of the Week back in January, and they've had a hard time getting him some shots early on. Huntington, of course, I'm sure they're well aware of his skills and what he can do, and it's been, they've kind of forced play away from him so far.
Shot from 3, no good, and rebound comes down. Huntington will have another crack at it. 8-0 Huntington on top. Here's a one-hander in the lane, no good. Follow-up will be put back up and in. That'll be Steve Snyder getting his first basket, and it's a 10-0 Huntington shutout so far as Fisher is looking for something offensively to happen.
Now again, the superior height. Fisher's tallest guy, about 6'5". That's a guard right now for Huntington.
Yeah, and also the Falcons already in a little bit of foul trouble. They got one of their players with 2 fouls early in the ball game, and that certainly not going to help. And now dribbling out of bounds was Mike Newcomb as he tried to drive baseline and couldn't get there.
He's trying to create something and trying to get some offense going. And so you get to the best offensive player, try to get him to create, but Huntington forced him to a sideline, or a baseline rather, and forced him out of bounds.
10-0 Huntington as we have played over 5 minutes of this first half. As the Foresters spin move, jump shot in the lane will be up and good, and that's Kyle Ganton with the basket. It's a 12-0 Huntington lead, and timeout called by Fisher. As right now, Huntington pitching the shutout. It is 12-0 Huntington on top of Fisher. 14:42 to go in the first half on the NAIA Tournament Network from the College of the Ozarks Gator Gym. .42 to go first half. Huntington out to a 12-0 lead, and Fisher with the basketball. As we mentioned earlier, already one of Fisher's players in foul trouble, Javon Holland. He is already on the bench, so Fisher, which only has a bench of 2 people, has already had to go to Marquise Massey, who's a 6'4 junior. David Lindbergh in his first year as the Fisher coach is a steal here by Huntington. And a shot is going to be blocked out of bounds at the other end. So it'll be out of bounds to Huntington with 14:21 to go here in the half. Huntington College, out of the Mid-Central College Conference, they were the conference regular season and tournament champion. Talk a little bit more about that in a moment as Fisher gets the basketball. Mike Newcomb drives down. He's going to try to spin, get a shot off. He does, and Newcomb gets the first basket of the ball game for Fisher. It is 12-2. Huntington still with the big lead. As Koch tries to go baseline, he can't. Gets the ball back. Goes inside. This time Snyder tries to post up. He can't, so rebound. That shot is no good. We'll have a held ball, and possession will stay with Huntington. Huntington, members of the Mid-Central College Conference. They won again the conference regular season and tournament championship. And what makes that significant is a fellow top 25 team competes in that same conference. So that is Taylor, who's already won in the first round here. Basket's going to be in by Alex Koch. Alex Koch now with 5 points. It's 14-2. And Huntington with the missed shot rebound. And back the other way they go.
An impressive thing for Huntington. They have blown out their last several opponents, including Taylor in their conference title game. Beat them 68-44.
And again, this was a Taylor team that I believe was actually in the top 10 at
Yeah.
the time they beat them. And Taylor, again, very well thought of in this tournament already in the second round. 3 from the top of the key is good, and that is Mike Newcomb. Ed talked to you about Newcomb a little bit ago. Scored his 1,000th career point this season. And Ed mentioned he was a National Player of the Week earlier this year. So quality player on this Fisher Ball Club, but a lot to carry against a team as powerful as Huntington. Shot rolls in and out by the Foresters. Put back, up, and that one will be no good. Huntington really crashing the boards, and there will be a foul called at 12:40 to go here in the first half.
That's going to be Newcomb's second, too, which also is going to hurt Fisher. You know, with having brought 7, this can't be that unusual a situation. They have played 10 different guys throughout the course of the season. So they've got some other guys that they've lost, either their injury or some other circumstances. But you know, with this short roster that they've had to have been in some spots not unlike this. We'll see how they handle it.
Snyder makes the first free throw. I think one of the big factors is that, especially when you get to this tournament, you're looking at ball clubs that are really, really deep and play really, really physical. And that's probably where it's going to stand out more than anything for Fisher, is the fact that they have got to really try to square up and battle. First free throw, as we mentioned, good by Snyder. He'll have one more, and he misses the second one. And the Falcons get the rebound.
And that was a typical foul when you're a little out of position and overpowered physically.
And now a basket's going to be good by Fisher, Stephen Perry, but he is hurt. But play will continue at the other end.
Yeah, they're going to get a stop now. But that's something that obviously they really can't afford to happen, is he came down in an ankle. He was holding an ankle, and maybe a little to his right knee also, is his right leg not able to support him right now. But he came down awkwardly, almost like he had hyperextended a leg or came down funny. And
yeah, so what you have here is you have a Fisher Ball Club that only has 7 players. 2 of them have 2 fouls already. And then, on top of that, you've got now 1 player out of the ball game. You're basically down to 6 players now.
Yeah, your roster of 7 just went to 6, although he was moving a little bit better as he came off, so hopefully he's able to return as they need him.
Here's a 3, that's good by Kyle Ganton, who has 5 points, and Huntington up 18-7. Here's a jumper that'll be no good by Fisher. Newcomb scrambles for the rebound. He gets it kicked outside, and then we'll pick it back up, and eventually Fisher will drive to the basket. This is Cruz, and then, a major collision on the shot, and now another Fisher player is limping.
He got clobbered.
That was a hard foul. Not a dirty foul, it was a clean foul, but it was a hard foul.
And Sammy Salient got open in the corner, and then Scheckler just ran him over, and then gave it a pretty good swat coming across the top, trying to block the shot, but he's the guy to the line as he's able to shake it off.
Or has to.
Yeah.
Seriously, in this case, you just... And that's the other thing, as Salient makes the first free throw. That's his first point, the lead down to 10 for Huntington. But again, and you said it yourself, Ed, probably Fisher's used to this, and they know that, they can't really afford, a lot of injuries when you're only working with 7 players. Second free throw is good. They'll have 1 more on the way. Fisher trying to claw back to within 8, and they will as Salient makes 3 free throws. 18-8 Huntington with 12 minutes even to go here in the first half.
Interesting, they're getting a lot of applause. Not a lot of folks from Boston made this trip. They're very much a sentimental favorite here early.
especially with what they're going through. And Fisher gets the back break. Come back to the other way. Here's a shot that's up and good. Stephen Rice gets the basket, and Fisher's cut the lead down to 6. Tell you what, this looked like it was going to be a Huntington walkaway, and all of a sudden, Fisher may be inspired a little bit. Has got some life to him. They do need to do is get a stop.
They're switched to his zone, probably to help protect the foul situation a little bit.
Inside, ball off the glass, no good. Rebound, pulled back up. Scheckler gets it. Put back up again. Follow-up will be no good. And the rebound will be out of bounds to Fisher.
I shudder to think how many offensive rebounds Huntington's had. It was like 4 shots at it that trip. They've had 2 or 3 cracks at the basket several times, but Fisher doing what they've got to do, hanging in there, and if they can convert here, we're going to get a little more interesting as they get midway through the half.
11 minutes to go. 18-12 is our score. Salient up to Cruz. Lob over to Newcomb. You got to figure Newcomb, with being their big scorer, they're going to try to get him open. He's going to try a 3, and that's no good. Had an open look, but couldn't get it to fall. Yoder outlet, down court, left side, hustling down the court is Verba, but that shot rejected, and here we go the other way. Fisher with the basketball. Newcomb drives to the paint. He's going to go in, and his one-hander, no good. And a lot of body contact on the rebound, but no foul called either way. Well, Newcomb was just, you could tell he was going to go to the basket when he got, crossed half court. You just knew that's what he was going to do, and actually got a pretty good look at a drive of the basket, but not able to convert. 18-12. Inside, reverse layup, no good, but a foul's called on Fisher. And we'll see who the foul will be on.
I think it should be on Massey as they're able to get the ball to the block. Massey, all he could really do is just kind of get a hit on from behind to try to prevent an easy score underneath.
At the free throw line is Chase Verba, senior from Angola, Indiana. First free throw is good. And that's the first point Huntington's got in a while. 19-12, lead back to 7. Some new players in for Huntington as well. You know, we talked about this in some of our Tournament Network broadcasts yesterday. On Wednesday, this is Thursday, the tournament, if you're watching this on tape. Verba with the second free throw. And timeout's going to be called, 20-12, 10-10 to go first half. It's Huntington on top of Fisher at the NAI Division II Men's Basketball Tournament. .2012 is our score, and we have 10:06 to go here in the first half from the NAI Division II Men's Basketball Tournament. Fisher and Huntington steals the basketball back. They are the ones with the lead, and they've got the basketball. And knocked out of bounds, though, by Fisher's Falcons' Stephen Rice, and it will belong to the Foresters. They'll inbound it underneath their own basket. Told you a little bit earlier about Huntington's run. They actually had a very nice run in the national championships here. The first year was at College of the Ozarks, only to be upended by one of the strangest sequences we've ever seen here at the national tournament. Here's Cruz for Fisher. He gets an opening to the basket, and the ball gets stuck. And actually, it'll get stuck, which will be a held ball, and possession will go to Fisher on the alternate possession. As the Huntington coach, Steve Platt, looking quizzical about that, but it just got stuck in the basket long enough to be called as a jump ball. And Falcon gets the possession, and now a foul called on Huntington as one of the Falcon players was going towards the ball. And he was fouled from behind as Cruz got knocked down.
Stephen Perry for Fisher is back on their bench after leaving with an injury. Hard to tell what his status is. His coach going to go over and check what his status is as they talk. But he not only represents a body, and they've only got 7 guys, he also averages 23 a game. So he means a lot to this club, not just to the fact that they've got a short roster, but he does a lot for them and is a presence inside.
David Lindbergh is their first-year head coach as he's guiding the Falcons to their second straight national tournament appearance. 2012. Huntington with the lead, and now the basketball as they're going to steal it, and alley-whooping it down court. Yoder eventually into the hands of Koch, who scores. Koch has 7, and now Huntington has scored 4 in a row and has got the lead back up to 10 points at 22-12 as we're at 9 minutes to go here in the first half. Newcomb hands it to Cruz. Newcomb gets it. He's going to drive to the baseline. One-hander in the lane. Bounces back outside, and then they'll reset. Newcomb has it left free throw line extended. Passes it off to Massey, or actually he was going to pass it to Massey. He's going to hold on to it now. Goes top of the key to Rice. Shot clock down to 3, and the Huntington Foresters get it just as the shot clock was about to expire. 22-12. Huntington looking to extend the lead. Looked like Yoder might have wanted to take a shot, didn't get a good grip on the ball, so he'll pass inside. Here's Koch with the shot off the glass and in. 24-12 as we're down to 8 minutes to go in the first half. We were looking over at Perry walking on the sideline a little bit, walking very gingerly over there, but you know he would like to get back in this ball game at all possible. Newcomb can't make the shot, and a rebound out to Huntington. Yoder comes up with it, gets it down court. This is Binge, and it scores up. Kyle Binge gets the basket. He's a freshman. And it's another timeout for Fisher. 26-12 the score. 7:56 to go in the first half from the NAI Division II Men's Basketball Tournament at the College of the Ozarks Keeter Gymnasium. (26-12) is our score. Huntington with the lead over Fisher. After Fisher takes a full timeout, 7:55 to go in the first half. And you know, if you're Coach David Lindbergh for Fisher, Ed, I think as much of these timeouts, obviously you're trying to stay in the ball game, even though you know it's going to be an uphill battle. I think he probably uses these timeouts as much for rest as anything else.
Yeah, maybe, although you know, his teams are very well conditioned at this time of year, but you don't want it to get away from you too fast, and Huntington is with a little burst. I mean, you worked your way back in your game within 6, and Huntington was with a couple of steals and a couple of transition baskets in the blink of an eye, opens it right back up to 14. He wants to put together another little burst, try to hang in there here.
Blocking foul call, and Steve Pratt very upset over on the sideline.
Now, clearly, there was a stumble, but a bump may have helped that along, and that's what the official calls. So,
and that's the second straight foul on Yoder, so he will leave the lineup for Huntington. Team fouls now even at 5 apiece. 7:35 to go here in the first half. Newcomb looks for help, gets it. The layup missed inside by Fisher's Stephen Rice, and at the other end, Huntington gets the layup by Doug Scheckler. And that's the most frustrating. He had a wide open layup.
He did. It was a well-executed play. Just a great cut right down the middle of the lane. Just couldn't convert, and then you blink, Huntington gets an open layup at the other end.
28-12. Basket will be good by Newcomb for Fisher. Mike Newcomb with 7 of Fisher's 14 points. He has half their total. It is 28-14 Huntington, trying to be 31. It is 31-14 Huntington on the three-point goal by Kyle Ganton. He has 8. Newcomb goes to the lane, pulls up. 13-footer good by Newcomb. And now Newcomb with 9 points. 9 of their 16, which now equates to over half of their points. 31-16 the score. Traveling, called on Koch on the baseline as he dragged the pivot foot. And again, we still look at Perry walking on the sideline, and
it's a pretty heavy limp. He's having a tough time moving around, but I'm sure that he's gone off to the side, trying to test that leg, trying to run a little bit, see what he can do, maybe even cut if he can, and see how it feels to start and stop. See what it takes to get him back out there.
Looking at his reaction, I'm not sure it's a test that's going to happen here in a while.
You say that, and the towel just went over his head. It's tough to see.
Newcomb on the baseline. Now goes back out to the free throw line extent. Still has the ball, dribbles into the lane, gets knocked down, and there was no call, and the play will continue. Here's Huntington down court. Binge goes to try to get control of the ball and throw it, but he drags the foot before he can do that. 31-16 the score, 5:57 to go in the first half.
Had planned to try a little pass, a little 3-on-1 break, but couldn't quite pull the trigger in time. Had to kind of hang on to it and prevent it. But Fisher now in a position needing to convert a little bit. And also needed to get some stops on the defensive end. That's the tough part about it, because you've been held to 16 points, and you'd think that, well, you need to have a swing offensively, kind of get rolling back the other way. But really, it's at the defensive end that's where you're battling. Huntington gets the ball inside. They shoot the ball very well. That's where they'll need to string some stops together to get a run to get themselves tighter again. But here's another key: make free throws. At least take advantage of the opportunities that are given to you and convert here, try to chip away. And they get that first one. This is Cruz, their third leading scorer, too. And this did get that 1 out of 2. And a nice job there in getting in the passing lane, is trying to extend that defense a little bit. He can contest some shots, contest some passes. Time Newcomb got out there to at least deflect one, but in that 2-3 zone, need to find a way to get some stops out of it. There's a collision there, but able to hang on. Shot clock, though, down to 3. There's Cook again, and now he's got 11. And it blocked, though, the other way. Huntington plays transition very well, but they're going to get a travel called on them there, so they'll send it back for Fisher. Huntington attacks well. It's a relentless offensive team. If you can stop it inside, able to look and get open looks on the outside. Now Fisher here, this last 5 minutes of the half. We'll see if they can find a way to tighten it back up as they trail 33-17. Here's Newcomb trying to go inside, and it's going to be out of bounds off of Fisher. Now Huntington will have it back with 4:36 to go first half, and leading 33-17. Hafley out front. Finds Scheckler. Shot in the 3 from the right corner. Koch again, and he's got 14. Or do they call that a 2? It is a 3, and it's 36-17. Cruz out front, a 3 try from Fisher, and Rice cannot convert. The lead 19 for Huntington. And a whistle, and it goes out of bounds off of Scheckler. Huntington will shuttle Yoder back into the game. And Chase Verba back in as well. Newcomb to his right, spins into the lane, 14-footer, rattles in and out. Huntington another rebound. This is Ganton down the sideline, corralled there by Koch. Fed left to Yoder. They go inside, and it's laid up and in by Snyder. Snyder with 5, and the lead now 21. Newcomb again. Loops it cross court. Massey hits the front iron. Fisher an offensive rebound. Rice out front. Loops it left corner. 3 try. Cruz got it. 38-20. Fisher cuts the margin to 18 in transition. 3 try. Rattled home by Koch again. He's got 17. And Cook gets it a 41-20 margin. Cook averages 21. Newcomb a drive, dishes inside. Cruz left corner a 3. Rims it in. Now again, Fisher answering the Huntington triple and get back to within 18. 2:30 left first half. Out front Yoder, inside. Cook again on the fadeaway. 19 for the junior from Auburn, Indiana. 43-23. Newcomb to his right, got a step on a defender, dishes out, 3 try right-sided glass, and a rebound to Huntington. Pushing it, Yoder over the midcourt line. Koch again, right corner, fires it underneath to an open man, faking up, going up, and scoring is Verba. His second basket. Under 2 minutes to go in the half, the lead 22 for Huntington. At 45-23, 90 seconds to go in the first. Oh, a handoff knocked away, but recovered by Cruz, who takes it to the corner. On a drive, salient. Missing inside, and Huntington will bring it the other way with about 1:10 to go in the first half. Fisher had a little run midway through the half to cut what was about a 14-point lead down to 6, but then Huntington with another burst, and Cook again gets his 21st point of the day. Cruz the drive, they're going to call it a travel. And for Fisher, Javon Holland, 6'4" junior. He comes back into the game. And again, we still have not seen their second leading scorer, Stephen Perry, went down midway through the half with a leg injury. Up trying to test that leg. In fact, he's standing on the bench now trying to flex that right leg, but doesn't look like we'll see him for the rest of the half at least. So we're under a minute to go in the half. Cook again, a drive, finds a man at the foul line, and a jumper from there, got the roll. Snyder connects, and he has 7. Shot clock is off. Newcomb, top of the key, drives, kicks it out front, and a 3 try right of the arc is off the back of the rim by Cruz. Huntington another rebound. They'll go the other way, leading 49-23. 10 seconds to go in the half. Hafley To his left to Ganton. He'll go baseline. Missed the shot. A tip in is after the buzzer. Otherwise, it would have been a 23-point half for Cook, but it will not count. But Huntington with a commanding lead at halftime, the number 2 seed in this tournament, on top of Fisher, Massachusetts.
As Huntington and the Fisher Falcons hook up in their first round matchup, and towards the end of the first half, Ed Beach, everything went Huntington's way as they jumped out to a 49-23 lead.
Yeah, and things that stand out of the stat sheet through one half, Huntington 26 points inside the paint. That and the fact that they have more offensive rebounds than Fisher has rebounds. Huntington had 13 O-boards in the first half, 28 total. Fisher 11 rebounds in the first half.
Jumper from the baseline will be up and good. And that's going to be Doug Scheckler, who has now 7 points. Alex Koch leading Huntington with 21 points in the first half. In fact, he leads all scorers in the ballgame. In fact, he has just 2 points fewer than Fisher has total. 23 at halftime. They missed the first shot of the second half, and here comes Yoder down at the other end for Huntington. Top of the key it goes. Here's Ganton, 3, it's in and out. Board, no good, but Koch is heading to the free throw line.
Koch's 21 came of 9 of 12 shooting, 3 of 4 from 3 range. Just has had some open looks and hasn't missed very many of them. And gets himself to the line here with another offensive rebound.
And Koch to the line. He'll have 2. First one is good. 22 points for Alex Koch. He is a junior out of Auburn, Indiana. 1 Michigan player in the lineup. That's Kyle Ganton. Everyone else is from the state of Indiana. And now that is going to be 23 points for Alex Koch. Huntington up 53-23. It's a 30-point lead. And we have just played 1 minute here of the second half. Yoder between the circles. Over to Thornton. Or check that. Let's get the right team here. As they try to dribble the ball around. Fisher again, still playing with just 7 players. They lost one of their players as they get a shot clock violation.
Yeah,
with an injury early.
May still just be 6. Perry.
In the first half.
Yeah, Perry, they lost him midway through the half. He's got the warm-up top on now. And doesn't look likely that we'll see him again.
53-23. Huntington with a 30-point lead. And you could just tell on the sideline as Huntington makes a basket at their end. Alex Koch now with 25 points. 25 points. And Newcomb at the other end will answer with a basket. He has 11, is 55-25. To put this in perspective, Newcomb and Fisher as a team has as many as Koch does for Huntington. Fisher with the rebound. They're going to run the outlet down court. Cruz tries to drive into the baseline and has the pass picked off. We're coming back the other way. Top of the key to Ganton. And over to Yoder. 55-25. Here's a jumper that is no good. And rebound to Fisher. The Falcons, Newcomb, 3, no good. Rolls in and out, and the basketball belongs to Huntington once again.
Not a bad thought. You're in a deep hole. Just get it. I mean, have your best player try to create. Try to do something there. A lot of times you'd say, well, that was kind of a quick shot or not a great possession, but in their case, why not?
Well, and the other thing, too, Ed, is Scheckler makes a basket at the other end. What you're trying to do is you're just trying to make something positive happen.
Yep, need a spark, need a little lift, because it's kind of a demoralizing spot that you've been in with the injuries, with some fouls early, and in a hole.
57-25. Only 2 points for Fisher here in the second half. Newcomb got that basket a little bit earlier in the half. Otherwise, it's been all Huntington this half, as they've already scored 8 points here in the first half. Here's a 3 by Fisher, and it is Mike Newcomb. 14 points. And you know what? He still has more than half their points. He has 14 and Fisher's 27. Free throw jumper, no good by Huntington. And we were starting to talk about something in the first half, And we'll finish the thought here as Newcomb goes to the basket, and he will be fouled and goes to the line. You know, you look at this situation, Ed. Almost all the teams that get into this national tournament have had a week and a half, sometimes even more off. You get in a game like this, the tendency would be to, get your starters out pretty quick. But how quick do you get them out, knowing that you still want them to have a little bit of conditioning, get them a little bit used to playing again because they got to turn around and play tomorrow. So, there's a balance there where you might keep him in a little bit longer than you normally would in a game like this. You're not going to keep him in the whole game, but you still want to make sure that they get the proper preparation for tomorrow's game.
You want to be sharp, and you've had, as you said, about a week and a half off, at least 8 or 9 days. And it's tough. There's a fine line, though, because this is a first round Thursday. So these teams, if you advance, you're going to play back-to-back days. And if you get through the second round, you're going to play 3 days in a row and only Sunday off. And if you can get through the quarterfinals, then it's 4 games in 5 days or 5 and 6.
And Fisher running back down the other way. Here's a corner pass to the free throw line as Holland will drive in.
Here's the other thing, though. You got 6 months to rest. So if you have a chance to win this tournament, I think Huntington does. You throw everything you've got at every game and every round.
Huntington on the run. This is Verba down court and a slam home. And this is the other thing you don't want to have happen.
He landed on the ball as it came right down. He went right on it. And holding his shin like a high ankle sprain. And the reaction of their coach said it all. Is kind of turned and dismayed as he spun around. I was going to say, there is a fine line. You got to get to a certain point in the game where you can, if you've brought 12 to 15, to play the end of your bench. But you're right, you have to stay sharp. It's a tough call and a tough decision as a team. But boy, you hate to see something like that happen. That was Scheckler that went down.
And that was on a play. Scheckler's going to get up, and actually it looks like he's going to be okay. He's going to walk it off. I say okay. Walking off under his own power like that is certainly a good sign, but man, I tell you what, that's the scary. That's the other thing about this, and then we were just going to start talking about that, is what happens when you end up in a situation where you get hurt in a game like that, and you just don't really want to do that. But at the same time, you're almost in a no-win situation. I kind of liken it to, you hear all these teams that are making the NFL playoffs about, should you play the last few weeks of the season, should you not? How you could get hurt, you could do this. You're almost in a no-win situation there, Ed.
Yeah, well, in a tournament like this you are, because especially when you've had that week or a lull. To get ready, I'm sure they had some tough practices. Close to a couple of teams in their situations, they looked at really going hard, and for quite a while, 3 games in a row, and that kind of makes you antsy a little bit too. You don't want to lose somebody in a practice or have somebody go down right before the national tournament, but you've got to do what you need to do to stay sharp. And it's the same kind of situation here. You need your regular personnel to go pretty deep into a game like this, really to get yourself ready and stay sharp for the subsequent rounds.
Here's a shot that's missed by Fisher. Huntington will go on the other way, and here's a layup that'll be good by Kyle Binge. He has 4 points. It is 61-28. Yeah, these are the type of games that you really don't, and nothing against Fisher, because they're sitting here with what they got. They qualified for the tournament, and they're trying to put out a good effort here, but this is just a situation where you got to try to make the best out of it, really, for both sides. Huntington to prepare for the next round, and Fisher just to try to finish out on a positive note the best you can.
Yeah, they've got some guys. It's a shame that we're not getting a chance to see Stephen Perry. And a good athletic club and a nice move there. It's another good inbound play that they've ran as Cruz got a lay in.
61-30, a 31-point Huntington lead. And the layup missed by Huntington. That was missed by Binge. Top of the key, Newcomb. Shot is no good, and Huntington with the rebound. 61-30 at 14:20 to go. Now here's one thing that we can look at as a shot's going to be inside and good. There's a gentleman that's not had any problems today, Alex Cook. Cook, I should say. Cook has now 27 points in the ball game. But one thing about it is in a game like this, even if Scheckler's not hurt, you really don't need to bring him back.
No.
Yeah, I mean, no reason to, because this game is well decided. And get him ready, because you know there'll be a much tougher game either against Bellevue or Evangel sitting there tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening. 13:48 to go, 63-30. Huntington with the lead.
Yeah, he can get some ice. The only tricky thing is you've got to go tomorrow, and that becomes a little tough when you're really not going to have much of an opportunity to get that ankle healed.
Huntington basketball, as going inside was Kyle Canton, had the shot blocked from behind, and here comes Fisher. Fisher double dribbles as Newcomb wanted to pass the ball, lost control, and then tried to get control back, and he got the dribble. Took that extra dribble, and that's a no-no.
You mentioned they won their conference tournament to get here. Got here with 4 straight wins. Linden State was getting votes for the top 25. They had more than 20 wins, and Fisher stepped in, won that conference tournament.
And that's the second year in a row that Fisher's done that. I believe they won the conference tournament from the number 2 seed, I believe. Down low it goes. Reverse layup will be good by Huntington. Chase Verba now with 6 points. It's 65-30 with 12:55 to go in the second half.
It's one of those, if you're Fisher, you kind of roll your eyes at that one because that thing hung in the rim and was going the other way and then kind of reversed its field with a backspin and found its way down the well as Newcomb gets another basket. He's got 16. Oh, but a great pick. Verba set a pick. That sprung Koch again, and he now has 30. But a great pick to set up that corner 3 ball. Newcomb again looking to create, but doesn't have anything there. And trying to direct some traffic. Force up his shot. Just did beat the shot clock, and a tough shot. The hand in his face over Halfie. Even he had to smile on that one a bit, but back in transition is Benj who gets a layup. Huntington, they attack 94 feet. And a made basket and a nice play, but they've got ice streaking down floor. Impressive. Now, we talked about rotating some guys in. I think Huntington right now going to experiment with some combinations. They're going a little deeper into their bench now as they bring in some guys in. This is nearing the midway mark of the half. Still about 11:40 though in it.
Well, and this is a game where, I mean, you've got this game won at 70-34 right now, and you know it also gives players that would not normally get in the national tournament a chance to get in the national tournament and experience this atmosphere. So, as a foul's going to be called, and actually the one thing about it is that they're both teams kind of realizing what's going on. This game's gone pretty quick in the second half. We're already down to 11:28 to go. Only 3 fouls called here in the second half altogether.
Yeah, Ryan Thornton, who's played in 9 games this season, is in for Huntington, along with a few others.
70-34. And a drive to the basket, and the shot will be no good. But we'll have free throws coming up for Fisher as Cruz drives to the lane. They get James Hafley with his first foul. 70-34, Huntington will be moving on to the second round. We haven't, even though we had a few blowouts yesterday, we really haven't had any games where you could say that this early, and especially today, the games have been very competitive here. And as we mentioned, we had a couple seeded upsets. So far, 3 total seeded upsets in this tournament.
You know, that Embry-Riddle-Sterling game was an ugly final score, but even that game was close for the better part of the first half. You never really got the sense that Embry-Riddle was going to really win that game by just a huge margin. They just kind of slowly pulled away and got it done.
Here's a drive inside the basket, and Chase Verba now with 8. It's 72-35. And I guess Steve Platt really gets a look at some different combinations now as you look at his bench and there are no warm-up tops on. Everyone except for the honorary coaches, and they're not eligible to play. 3 ball, no good, and a rebound to Huntington as they run the court and outrun the court that time as Chase Verba could not catch up to the lead pass of Jared Yoder.
Only tricky thing is if you're Huntington and you're sitting in this spot, you don't want to get sloppy. You don't want to have some habit set in that's going to carry over for the next day. So even though you've got these guys in, you still want to play well, play smart, and try to close it out on a good note. And if you're Fisher, just keep attacking, and especially their scorers keep looking to shoot and score as and a good ovation for Verba, who rotates out. I'm just going to say that seeing Verba make that nice play around the basket, you get the impression, Cook's got about 30. There's a couple other Huntington candidates that could go off for a similar total on a given night.
Nothing happening on that possession for Fisher, and Yoder gets the rebound for Huntington. 72-35 as we're approaching the halfway mark of our second half. Thornton goes up. Here's a shot that'll be missed. And rebounded by Fisher. Down court as Cruz had the ball. Gets it back after a collision at midcourt, and now here's another Fisher player that's a little slow to get up, and that's Marquise Massey. Tell you what, Fisher's just taking a beating in this game, and not just on the scoreboard, but physically. It's been a very physical game for them. And again, they've already lost 1 player to injury, and they only have 7 to start with. Here's a spin move in the lane, shot, good, and a foul.
And again, with only 7 guys coming and 6 now, it makes it harder, I think, to really match physical play because, especially when you're undersized, you really can't probably be as aggressive as you want to be. You can't feel like you can fight around either a pick or a post up. Makes it that much tougher, especially when you're playing against a big, physically and talented team like Huntington.
It's 74-35. Free throws no good. Newcomb with a nice move to get the basket. Newcomb has 20 points in the ball game.
And when you're undersized a little bit, playing against a team as good as it sounds bad, but you need to cheat a little. You need a hand check just for a second or two. You need to try to get away with what you can get away with. Not dirty or anything, but just you got to clutch, grab, and hold a little. And when you don't feel like you can because of the potential of getting in foul trouble, it does hold you up.
Newcomb has 23 points as he gets a basket. Sheets a moment ago, a freshman from Plymouth, Indiana. He got a basket for Huntington, so another one on the scoring column. And now a foul's going to be called on Fisher, Sammy Salent. That's his first, just the 3rd team foul. As I said, we are really moving through this game quickly. Only 6 fouls called here in the second half. Reverse layup, no good. And Holland with the rebound for Fisher. As we're down to 8:40 to go, it's 77-40. Newcomb at the right sideline, top of the key. Picks his dribble up. Free throw line to Massey. Inside, shot will be up and no good. Rebound is good, by Marquise Massey. And Massey on the scoring column now. 77-42 with 8:15 to play. Sheets drives to the lane, and Kyle Binge off the feed from Sheets. 6 points for Binge. It's 79-42, 8 minutes to play. Newcomb, one-on-one move, and right now Newcomb's just basically playing one-on-one when he gets the basketball, Ed, to try to make some things happen. And don't forget, Newcomb is just a junior.
Yeah.
And so he has another year to come back to play for this Fisher Ball Club. 79-42, Huntington on top, 7:50 to go second half. We're back after this timeout on the NIA Tournament Radio Network. 7:50 to go, second half, 79-42, Huntington over Fisher. As we're back here at the College of the Ozarks Keeter Gymnasium. As I guess you could say this is basically a game that we are playing out the string if you're Fisher. And if you're Huntington, you're just wanting to survive to the next day. I mean, you're going to win the game, but make sure you have no more injuries like the close call to Doug Scheckler a little bit earlier. He's still on the bench, obviously will not be back today, but say looks to be all right. Ryan Thornton is now in the scoring column, and most of the players that have been in the game for Huntington, with the exception of one that I see right now, has scored in the game. Here's Newcomb, passes it off inside, and that'll be a nice basket up and in by Javon Holland. Good pass by Newcomb that time.
Wasn't he posted up that time, too? I haven't seen that from him yet, but he looked pretty natural doing it. A good, quick pass across the lane.
7 minutes to play, 81-44 the score. Ball's knocked out of bounds, and it will belong to the Huntington Foresters. Leading it at 81-44. Foresters with some more new players in the ballgame. Todd Dale seeing action. And I think that pretty well takes care of the bench for Huntington. Dale and James Hafferly are the only players that have not scored for Huntington in this ball game. Newcomb off the miss, gets the feed, gets the pass courtesy of Cruz. And Newcomb now with 25 points, 6:25 to play. Huntington passing it around the basket. Shot's going to be no good, but Todd Dale will have a chance to get in the scoring column as he goes to the free throw line.
Great passing, especially around the interior. Good unselfish play, got a ball fake. Had a good look maybe from 10 or 12 feet, but got a pass underneath. Then another pass to Todd Dale, who earns free throws out of it. Hate to bring this up, but it is 4 fouls on Javon Holland.
And he stays in the lineup right now. Dale, by the way, is now in the scoring column as he makes a free throw. So James Hafferly is the only Huntington Forester that has not scored. Dale gets both free throws. 83-46 with 6:10 to play. And here's the aforementioned players with 4 fouls. Holland into Newcomb. Newcomb will have a shot that's in. Newcomb now with 27 points.
You mentioned, Scott, that he's a junior, and you kind of hope Fisher bolsters their roster a little bit and has a chance to come back as another 3 gets knocked down from the left side. But you'd love to see this guy play with a full roster and where you don't rely on him necessarily to kind of pace himself for 40 minutes. You'd love to see what he could do with a full lineup on his team and just a little more help. And he'll have a chance to be back for another year if they can make their way through that conference tournament again.
86-48, 5.5 to play. Inside, Todd Dale gets another basket. He has 4 points.
As it was, it's a great turnaround for Fisher. At one point, they were 3-10. Started 0-6. You don't think about the national tournament, I bet, when you're 0-6 in early December, and at one point 3-10 in mid-January. They had a great run at the end. Another nice shot by Newcomb with a hand in his face. Put together a great run at the end. Got over 500 from 3-10 to get to nationals, and it's a great run by them to make the tournament.
And they will finish the season at 500. With the loss here today, here's a jumper from the baseline, no good, it's an air ball. And a rebound down to Huntington, it will be Ben Hafferly. In the corner, Dale. Dale's gonna try a 3, that's good.
Wow. That was about a 22-footer.
It's 91-50. And the sideline of Huntington having a lot of fun with this, as their players are getting some time, and now timeout's going to be called by Fisher after a basket was made by Stephen Rice. That's his 4th point. 91-52 is the score, with 4:07 to go in the second half from the NEI Division II National Men's Tournament from the College of the Ozarks Cater Gym. (91-52). We're down to 4 minutes to play in this contest. Huntington 4 minutes away from moving on to the second round of the tournament, where they will take on either Evangel or Bellevue. That game to be decided later tonight. And as Ed mentioned before the timeout, Fisher, after a great run to even make the national tournament, will finish it at even 15-15. Here's a feed from Newcomb down court. Shot will be missed by Cruz. And the ball will be out of bounds and will belong to Huntington with 3:41 to play. So we mentioned Fisher making their second straight appearance in the national tournament. And I agree with you, Ed. It'd be nice if Newcomb, to be coming back next year. He certainly has shown some very good moves in this ball game.
He's been fun to watch. And as I said, with a little more of a roster help, deeper team, a little bit of a bench for them, be interesting to see what he could do next year as a senior if they can make it back.
Shot blocked. And here's Fisher on the run as we're down now under 3 minutes to play. 91-52. Drive by Cruz, kick outside. The jumper will be good from the baseline by Stephen Rice. Marquise Massey with the basket. Massey with 4 points. It's 91-54 at 2:35 to play. Huntington, the number 2 team in the country. They've been there for a while. As Halfley makes the basket. Finished the regular season undefeated. Not undefeated, but ranked second in the country behind Embry-Riddle. And again, sweeping through their conference tournament championship, defeating another top 10 team in Taylor pretty handily. An impressive run by the Foresters.
They never lost back-to-back games all year. And now they won't. One loss and you're out, so they can't lose back-to-back games. But that's an impressive run when you play 30-plus games and against some good teams.
Talked about Huntington, and as Fisher goes down court, Huntington made the national semifinals here in 2000. The first year the tournament was held at College of the Ozarks, and got victimized by one of the most famous shots around southwest Missouri, certainly, as Joffrey Cruz gets a basket for Fisher. When Huntington and College of the Ozarks played in the national semifinals in overtime, and Huntington had a lead, College of the Ozarks ends up hitting a 3-point shot to beat Huntington from a kid who had never hit a 3 in his life. That was in the semifinals, as Newcomb tries a 3-pointer from Boston and misses. As we're down to a minute to go. And that was a Huntington team that may have been one of the best teams that's been at this tournament. In fact, a lot of people believe that Huntington was the best team here that year, but got upended in the semifinals, and that was the year that Embry-Riddle then took College of the Ozarks in the championship game and won their national championship. Huntington since then has been back to the tournament. They were here in 2002, lost in the second round, got to the quarterfinals in 03. Won in 04 against Northwestern in the first round, which at that time was the defending national champion. And then Huntington, in a rare loss in the first round in 05, lost to Newman in the first round. But not a first round loss here today. As Ryan Thornton makes 1 of 2 free throws, he has 3 points, and we're down to 50 seconds to go. Here's a long three, that's no good. Rebound brought down. Fisher will make another attempt here. Sammy Silent will throw it out of bounds, throws it into the stands. And it's Huntington basketball with 40 seconds to play. (96-58). There's a three, that's good. Ryan Thornton. And now here's a steal.
And the play for the century mark or hold it. I think
Hold
they're
it.
probably going to hang on to it. Yeah, in fact, I think they just got a no-shoot order from their bench. But a nice steal at midcourt.
But you know
Good
what?
athletic play, and that should do it.
And you know what? I like that move by Steve Platt right there. No reason to do that. I'm sure he
Nope.
probably wasn't that happy with the previous shot. But he said there was no reason to shoot, so we're not going to deal with it. And let's go from there, and let's get out of here with a win. And it is 99-58. 99-58. Huntington with the victory over Fisher. 99-58 is the final score. Huntington moves on to the second round. They'll take on either Bellevue or Evangel Friday here in the national tournament.